I began my martial arts career when I was 4 years old. I started doing a lot of judo with my stepfather. I ended up doing that till about 14, 15, and then I came across MMA. So I went to my local BJJ gym, which was the Chris Reese Academy, to improve my groundwork for my judo. As soon as I saw the MMA in the gym, I fell in love with the sport, and I just wanted to cross my judo over from there to the MMA. The way I fight, the way I do my grappling in the cage, it looks very wrestling style, but that was my style in judo. It was very wrestling sort of based. I've done a lot to adapt that sort of style to work in mixed martial arts. You know, a lot of judo throws you try and do in MMA and you end up getting your back taken and you end up getting choked. I kind of knew that very quickly when I was working with the BJJ guys. You know, Chris has done a lot of work with me, you know, my ground and pound, and he's worked my striking and my strength and conditioning. And that's what's turned me into the mixed martial artist I am today. This is probably the hardest class of my week, taking the kids. I always win.
So that series of applause is for Brett the Pikey Johns. He is.
Yeah, it was in the 4-man bantamweight tournament. It was just a tough night. You know, there's 4 top guys in Europe fighting in this tournament. There was myself, David Hagstrom, Penton and Chris Edwards. You know, it was a really tough night. You know, Penton ended up beating Chris Edwards. I ended up beating Hagstrom. He came out of the first round. You know, I was trying to put the pressure on him. You know, I knew he was a good striker. I just wanted to get in there and try and put the pressure on him. I ended up going for the little wrestle. But he was a very tough guy to take down. He's bouncing off the mat and get back to his feet. 10 seconds left to go. I thought, you know, I'll push off from the clinch. He ended up kicking me in the liver and nearly, well, more or less dropped me in the end of the first round.
As he gets a bit of range, and that's a very big body kick. Yeah.
Second round then we came out. It was similar to the first round, but this time I ended up getting the takedown later on in the second round. I started beating up on the floor in the second round.
Oh, and a good answer to that flurry from Johns.
Fantastic awareness.
Oh, big slam there, and the winks from Hagstrom.
And the third round was definitely more dominant. The third round was definitely in favour of me. You know, I went in there to put pressure on him, cut him open with a nice elbow, and I ended up getting the W from that then. In the final I was meant to fight Penton, but unfortunately he was out due to injury. And then, well, the reserve bout, John Desborough, he stepped up to fight me, and I ended up going 5-5s with him as well. Desborough was such a tough guy, you know. His fitness was brilliant, you know, but I felt like my wrestling was a little bit stronger. And then over 5-5s I ended up getting the nod there as well.
Bantamweight champion of the world, Brett Johns!
It's a childhood dream of mine, you know, to be a world champion. It's a big, big deal for me, for my family, for my friends, for the 2 gyms I train out of. It's a huge deal. Back in December 7th, I was meant to fight James Brum in the Newcastle card. Unfortunately, I ruptured my MCL in preparation for that fight. So, you know, Christmas time was very, you know, difficult, putting a lot of weight as well, you know. But we, you know, back when we hit January, as soon as I hit January, you know, I kind of focused, back on form. And yeah, you know, I've come back stronger. I feel fitter. I feel better. You know, everything's coming on nicely. You know, I picked up my mistakes from my last fight. So fighting Brum, you know, this is going to be my biggest test to date, definitely. But I feel like, you know, this is going to be the best me going in there with him. You know, outside the UFC, he's one of the top guys in Britain, you know. He's been at top 10 ranking for a while. He's good in everything, but he's not amazing in one thing, you know. And I feel like my wrestling is going to be better than his. And I think my grappling is better than his, and I'm just going to prove it on the night, really. You know, he's been training in California. You know, I know he's got the UFC level guys up there, but you know, I've trained just as hard, if not harder, than him out there. I'm putting a lot of effort into keeping this belt. You know, I feel like, you know, after the September fight, I felt like this belonged to me, and I want to keep this. I think any fighter, if they want to reach these goals, they're going to have to train harder. And I train as hard as I can every day, and I can honestly say that. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I think the Swansea crowd are going to get behind me when I fight. You know, I think the fight's going to be a 5-5 war, to be honest. You know, it's going to be fight. It's going to be fight night for sure. I'm sure Brum will tell you the same as well. I just can't wait to get in and just throw down with him, because you know this is going to prove who is the champion of this weight. And beating Brum's just going to put me up there with the best.